denominations, so many people of different lifestyles, and where we've come from, and everything that we've been through. We've got people dressed about as normal as you can at Dragon Con. We've got people in costume. We've got celebrities. We've got, people with different stuff. And this one's brothers and sisters in Christ coming together, putting aside the differences, and being together in the one thing that we most have in common, and that's the grace of God and the love that Christ has. It's just anything. And it's only by God's grace and His presence that we are here today. So we want to thank you guys for coming. We hope that you are blessed by all of this. Honestly, we weren't certain if we were going to have 5 people show up, but obviously God has been filling in. We hope that the Spirit is here today. I promised my wife that she don't go too long-winded. People have other things that they want to do. So because of her saying that, she gets to be picked on first thing this morning.
This is her, right?
My wife Stacy has a habit of, of whenever she is reading a book, of always turning to the end of it to see how it's going to turn out. If it turns out bad, and she's hiding her face. If it turns out bad, she probably doesn't want to read it. So first thing she does, she grabs a book and she turns to the end. She's like, okay, it turns out good. I can read that now. Don't we wish that we could do that in our own lives? People are going through different things right now. Everyone's going through something. Don't you wish that you could jump to the end of your life and see how it's going to turn out? Because if you know that it ends good, you can probably get through the bad stuff. When you're reading a book and the hero or the heroine is going through this horrible thing and all these bad things are happening, the world's falling down around, you at least can flip to the end and say, okay, it turns out okay. Everything seems to be falling apart sometimes, doesn't it? Yeah, fill in, guys, anywhere you want. We're all family here. Bills go unpaid. Our health might be bad. Work stinks. The kids won't behave. The car keeps breaking down. You got fired. Someone throws a lawsuit at you. A family member died, someone that you loved. Any one of these things is bad enough. But sometimes one thing follows another, and follows another. They keep piling up. And everybody has a breaking point. Everyone has a point where they're just, I can't take this anymore. You could handle a few of those. You could handle, maybe being late on some bills. You could maybe handle getting getting fired from your job. But when everything just keeps happening, eventually there's a straw that breaks the camel's back. And then you start wondering, where's God? Why isn't He helping me? Has He forgotten about me? Does He love me anymore? Where are you, God? Believe it or not, this sermon illustration, I actually gave this one time in front of my church, but it's so appropriate here. I assume you guys have seen a little kind of independent movie called The Empire Strikes Back. And, how happy did that movie end? The rebels were scattered and on the run. Han was frozen in carbonite. Luke had abandoned his Jedi training. His hand was cut off. He found that his worst enemy was his own father. And he almost died. What about Revenge of the Sith? Okay, we won't talk about how well that movie turned out. Bear with me here. Go with the illustration. But Anakin had turned to the dark side. Emperor Palpatine had gained full control of the Senate. The Jedi were betrayed and most of them killed. And a great shadow had fallen over the entire universe. What if the story stopped there? What if the story ended at the end of Revenge of the Sith, or the story ended at the end of The Empire Strikes Back? It's not very happy. Now, we know what eventually happened and how things turned out. What if we were in those situations? What if we were Obi-Wan at the end of Revenge of the Sith? What if we were Luke and Leia at the end of Empire Strikes Back? how would we feel about our lives and where things were going? Look at the Bible. Bear with me as I read some scriptures here. How do you think Noah and his family felt when the world came crashing down around them? Just in verse 17. It was on 40 days. The waters increased and lifted up the ark right above the earth. The waters prevailed and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about the surface of the waters. The waters prevailed exceedingly on the earth, and all the high hills under the whole heaven were covered. The waters prevailed 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved on the earth. Birds and cattle and beasts and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life, all that was on the dry land died. So he destroyed all living things which were on the face of the ground, both man and cattle, creeping things and bird of the air. They were destroyed from the earth. Only Noah and those who were with him in the ark remained alive.